Hi, I'm Natalia. This is Embody the Power. Please take what resonates, leave the rest, because life's dynamic and subject to change. These videos are timeless, so whenever you click onto them, today, tomorrow, in the future, they're going to apply to you. And remember, the nature of relationships, you might not be directly impacted by something I discussed, but you may be in contact with somebody who is going through something that I discussed. So it may give you some help to sort of move forward with them. So that's pretty much it. Today, I'm going to be talking about sort of mental health and coming out of lockdown, being in lockdown, and the impact, and basically openness and transparency and honesty about how you're feeling in relation to mental health. And also knowing that all throughout this video, just because somebody else has an issue with mental health that seems like it's more than yours doesn't mean you don't have one. So it really is to just identify, because I find that I deal within the present, okay? I'm not a doctor, not a physician, not a clinician, not a psychologist. I am a coach, so I can deal with stuff in the present. And for me, that works because a lot of people want to get to a certain point. So if you visualize a map, how do you get to that point if you're not sure where you are? You can't take that road. Like, where are you? I don't know. So it's about accepting where you are. And sometimes that is the journey for you right now. Some people know where they are and they're not sure how to get out of it. But just like some people will suffer with, say, post-traumatic stress or that kind of energy, that kind of condition, some people will have episodes, fleeting situations, anxieties and stuff, but they don't have a full-on mental health condition. It doesn't change it. It doesn't change what it is to you. And I can pretty much say, barring no one, I could be wrong, but since March 2020, at the start of lockdown, there isn't a person on this planet who hasn't had either their mental illness condition exacerbated, had to deal with somebody that's got one, had to deal with some form of anxiety, some form of depression, some form of feeling low. Whether you are a key worker who's been out, who's been able to go out there and has felt like they're not understood by people who have been, on 24-hour lockdown. Each situation's going to present its own issues, and then trying to understand where different people are coming from. And it's quite difficult, because when you're going through mental health situations, you can have emotional flashbacks, and you will have them. You will be integrating into your job. It could be a new job, it could be no job. It's going to affect everyone. It could be due to finances, could be to do with relationships, children, not being able to cope, feeling like you're the worst person ever, the worst mother, the worst father, and having to suffer in silence, shaming yourself into silence. Or if you're somebody that's had to put boundaries up and not deal with somebody that's having a mental health issue because of your own mental health, and sort of feeling guilt, silencing yourself into guilt, or not understanding where people are coming from. Some of the classic examples are, messages, text messages. We're just like so text mad at the moment, and it's really difficult to understand how that's going to be received depending on how the person's feeling that receives it, the recipient. And it can be, and I'm getting this quite strongly, so I feel like, wars have been fought for less. It's like an example. I remember years ago writing something in text and then remembering that I didn't say please, so putting it at the end, and the person that received it heard that what I heard, oh, blah blah blah, please, and what they heard is, because the energy they were sitting in was blah blah blah, please. And it wasn't like that, and lucky we were able to speak, and they were like, oh, I thought it was blah, 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 blah. So on that note, if you're sending messages and something's riled you, before you react or after you react at any stage, when you're back in calm, go back and revisit that, because I guarantee you've probably read it wrong, or you've missed a bit, because wherever your headspace was. And it also helps, because people are working from home and not from home. One tip I would give you is, if you're in crisis mode and you need to send a message at midnight, and the person that's going to receive it may not receive that until 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning, they might suffer with insomnia. Just remember what impact that might have on that person. If you're in crisis, that's a different story. You just need to get out there. And by crisis, I mean someone that's feeling desperate, in complete despair. But otherwise, it's quite a good practice I've found if you need to discuss something that is quite life important to both parties or to whoever it is, try and schedule a time where they're going to have that time to think about it and you're going to have that time to express how you're feeling. Because that can have a large impact on the quality of someone's day, or because people are very quiet about it. And I can probably say that most people have had a mental health episode, condition, flare up, whatever however you identify it, more than they've had a physical issue, a physical ailment, a broken leg or a sprained wrist. But there's a lot of silence, and throat chakra closing. And because of this might trigger people, I'm going to leave today in the description box some organisations, charities for men and women, ones that are text-based, ones that are phone-based, that might help you in that hour of need, because it's reoccurring. And I'm getting through that. I need to remind people not to blame yourself. So you could be having mental health episodes, issues, ill health, because of self-inflicted stuff. You might take substance, drink, drugs, whatever it is. It could be because somebody else is going through something and you want to blame them. Try and drop the blame, because the blame is not going to help you when you're in that state of despair. What you need to do is recognise where you are and how do you get help, whether it's going to a GP, whether it's going to a friend. But also, if you're somebody that's giving help, don't feel guilt about having to put boundaries up about what you cannot handle. Feel empowered that you know your limits, you know where you end and that person begins. And it's like, you could be met with, but I've got no one else to talk to. It's like, okay, that's very well, I appreciate that. And that does upset me to a certain point, that you don't have anyone to, but I can't handle it. Like, my mental health is like, I can't handle it. So it's not feeling shamed into silence because somebody else's problem's worse than yours, or somebody, whatever it is. Don't try not to compare them, because mental health is really tricky. And I am seeing that there are more companies that are actually sort of opening up to this. Who wouldn't suffer with mental health? 24-hour lockdown, not allowed to touch, not allowed to speak, masked up, silence, civil dead, for whatever the reasons that they've been brought in. That's not what I'm discussing here. I'm just discussing that recognise around you that every person is going through it. And when I did mediation training, when I was doing law, it's like they highlighted the fact that 65% of communication comes from body language. So you can feel that from someone, you can see it from someone. You may not be able to help them directly because you may not understand them. Some points you might not even believe them. I've since the age of 15, I've suffered with, and I'm a healer that will, part of what I do is a healer, and it's just like, why can't I heal myself? It's got better, it gets worse, however, and I know what the triggers are, but I've suffered with hormonal imbalance, which leaves me 2 weeks of the month completely gaga. It's not PC way of explaining it, but it's how I explain myself. And I know some women, for example, that have never had a period pain in their life, ever, ever, ever. So they're like, don't get it. Some people have actually said to me, if it hadn't been for the fact that I've seen what you've gone through, I would just say you're a liar and looking for attention. Whatever. You may not understand, but it may not be your job to understand. It may just be your job, your role as a supportive person, to listen and maybe try and help that person navigate somebody else. And it is, it could be, it doesn't have to be because of that. It could be, it could be somebody that's got kids and they didn't know how to handle it. Doesn't have to be single parent, can be in a partnership and they're crying in the bathroom at night when everyone's asleep. Or it could be, a father figure. I'm using stereotypes, but swap and change it where you can, where it applies. Somebody that's just like, I remember having a conversation with someone, just a fleeting conversation, just saying to them, oh my God, it's nearly 3 o'clock, I can have a bath and this day will be over, and this person's just said to me, well, what, only at 3? I feel that when I wake up, and sometimes it can shock you because you don't think, you could be a matriarch of a family and you're the one that is strong, is, abundant. People come to you, they come and eat, they come and share, and you're like, I can't afford to feed the 5,000 today. I haven't got it for myself. It's like having to sort of understand that it's okay to feel those things and to try not to shame or guilt yourself into silence, whether you're receiving or whether you're going through long term, whether you've got somebody that you've had to disengage from and you're like, what if something happens and I'm not speaking to them? No, that's what's right for you at the moment to keep your sanity there. You know, it's the classic thing when you're on an airplane. You can't put someone else's oxygen mask on before you put your own on. And I think that's what it is, sort of trying to be compassionate and kindness, not judging, not, if you don't understand it, just, okay, just accept it at face value. And maybe try and help people, yourself, go to the right people to get the right help. And appreciate where you are. If you're feeling this, admitting it and, you know, trying to reach out, trying not to continue this, because it feels kind of institutionalized. After a year and a half of being on lockdown, being in isolation, not being able to talk to people, not worrying that if you talk to people, somebody else's problems, what, you know, whatever it is, that's institutionalized. It's scary to come back out. You could be starting a job, going back into the workforce. I don't want to tell people that I'm, you know, suffering mentally, you know, being met with energies that are like, well, what's your problem? I suffer, I don't complain. You know, just sitting in yourself and getting the help that you need. And knowing that it's okay to feel that way. Yeah, I feel like I kind of want to end it there. Apologies for the camera and the sound today. I had to send my laptop to the shop to get fixed. So I've gone back to basics, but that's cool. It's all cool. But yeah, let me just tune in. I'm not going to pull out cards today, but I will do, I think I might start pulling them out a bit more in the future, because it is quite a nice divination tool and it does help you guide and sort of see if there's anything that needs to be covered that I haven't already covered. So let me just tune in and see. No, appreciation is what I'm feeling. Thank you for helping me, helping this channel. Appreciate yourself, appreciate what you're going through, appreciate, you know, appreciate those around you, appreciate the kids that have been in lockdown. You know, this isn't just an adult thing. There are teenagers that are going through, you know, it would be good if in some time we could stand up and clap for everyone that's managed to get through mental health, everyone that's dealing with somebody that's ill right now, everyone that's ill right now. You know, it's just appreciate where you are, appreciate your strengths, appreciate that you're doing the best that you can, appreciate that you can let the blame go and just accept it so that you can move forward. And just know that you're always loved. You're loved, you're always loved, and you always will be loved. And I think I'm going to stop it there and keep it short and sweet and just reach out. But as I said, I'm going to leave some information in the description box about how you can reach out if you've been triggered, or if you're just like been thinking, you know, I really need to go and see the doctor, I really need to go and see it. Please make it that do it now. You know, don't wait until you're in the cycle of despair. If you've come out of it, you know, get the help for when you go back into that, or if you're somebody that's got it now. You know, I can hear the song, reach out and touch somebody's hand, make this world a better place if you can. So yeah, be the change you want to see, and that means sometimes not being shamed or guilted into silence when you're suffering. I think that's it. I look forward to speaking to you soon.